Hey everyone, this is Justin from R&DE Student Housing Assignments, and in this video we're going to walk through the draw application. In order to take part in the annual housing draw, you need to file a housing application in Access. Log on to Access and select Student Housing and Dining from the Student drop-down menu. Once inside the housing portal, select Apply for Housing on the left-hand side. This will take you to the housing application. The first thing you're going to do is select when you want your housing to begin. For most students, this will be autumn quarter, but if you're going abroad or taking a leave of absence, you may not be returning until winter or spring quarter. If you're applying for summer housing, in addition to housing for next year, you must submit 2 housing applications, one for summer and one for either autumn, winter, or spring quarter. Next, you will need to select the type of housing you are applying for. If you're participating in the draw, you are a single undergraduate. Confirm that you've read the application and assignment policy information on our website. There's lots of good information at thedraw.stanford.edu. Don't miss it. Once you've checked this box, hit continue. On the next page, you will see more of your personal information, as well as a confirmation of the choices you selected on the previous screen. You will also see information about your housing guarantee. If you have any questions about your guarantee, contact Student Housing Assignments. Next, you will need to select a tier. Your tier determines the range of numbers from which your draw number will be assigned. Since Tier 1 has the lowest set of numbers, students selecting Tier 1 are considered for housing before those in Tiers 2 or 3. You will only be able to see the tiers that are available to you. Rising sophomores can only use Tier 2 or 3. In your undergraduate career, you can only use Tier 1 once, and all students must use Tier 3 at least once. If you are out of guaranteed years, you won't see this tier question on your application. Instead, you will automatically be allocated a number somewhere in between 3001 and 3500. Next, you will see information about housing priorities, which are generally given based on class year. For example, sophomores have a housing priority to Toyon Hall. This means sophomores who select Toyon will be assigned before juniors who select Toyon. You won't see anything into this section until you've added a residence to which you have a priority. In the next section, you will be asked whether or not you want to list special program houses on your application. These houses have specific requirements for residents, and you should familiarize yourself with these requirements before listing any of these houses on your application. If you want to list a special program house on your application, hit yes. If not, select no. Next up is information about creating or joining a group. If you create a group, you will need to set a group name and password, and you will be considered the group leader. If you join a group, you will need to enter the group name and password created by your group leader. All group members are required to enter through how many residence choices they would like to keep their group together. There is a lot more to learn about applying as a group, and group applications are where we tend to see the most mistakes. Check out our group video at thedraw.stanford.edu to avoid these pitfalls and successfully apply as a group. Now, finally, we get to the heart of your housing application, your residence choices. You are able to list every residence and room type on your application, and we strongly suggest you make a robust list of housing choices. Keep ranking choices until you have no preference between the choices that you have left unranked. That's when you know you've made a complete list. The Residence Choice menu on the application allows you to filter the residences in a lot of different ways. Let's say you're only interested in West Campus. You can filter down to just the West Campus residences. If you're only interested in singles in West Campus, you can filter down to just those spaces. To add a residence to your list, just hit Add. Your choices end up below. If you want to change the order of your choices, you can renumber them on the side, or just click and drag them. To remove a choice, just click Remove. When assignments are being made, the computer considers students in draw number order. When the program gets to your draw number, it will look at your first residence choice. If there is space in that residence and room type, the program will assign you to that space. If not, the program goes on to your second choice, and then your third, and on until it finds a residence where there is a vacancy. If the computer gets through your entire list and can't find a vacancy for you, it then considers your final choice. Now here's a mistake students sometimes make. In this example, the student has listed any Xanadu, then Xanadu Premier, which means a single or a 2-room double, and then Xanadu Standard, which means you share a room with another person, such as a 1-room double, a triple, or a quad. You should never list an any choice before a more specific choice. Remember, the assignment program looks at your choices one at a time. When it gets to an any choice, the program will first determine whether your number is low enough to get into that house. Because you are willing to accept any room in the house, you will be assigned the last space in the house. So even if your application number is number 1, the best possible number, you could end up in a standard room because you put the any choice before the specific choice. When thinking about your application choices, you should always list where you want to live, not where you think you can get in. The fact is that every year, cutoff numbers change, and it's much better to list a choice and not get it than to not list a choice and find out that you really did have a number strong enough to get into that residence. You can rank every residence and room type that is available, and there is no disadvantage to ranking residences honestly. So list what you want in the order you want it. One more general note about the application. If you spend more than 30 minutes working on your application without submitting it, the system will time out and you will lose your work. Be sure to submit your application before this happens. You can always go back and edit your application as many times as you would like up until the draw deadline. Okay, we're almost done here. Before you can submit your application, you need to pick a final choice. If the assignment program is unable to assign you to any residence on your list, it considers your final choice. Your final choice is always, yes, I'm willing to accept any other assignment, or no, do not assign me if the choices I selected are not available. If you are guaranteed housing, you must select I'm willing to accept any other assignment as your final choice in order to retain your guarantee. If you select do not assign me if the choices I selected are not available, and you are left unassigned, you will no longer be guaranteed housing. You should not pick this choice unless you are willing to find your own place off campus. After selecting your final choice, select Preview. You will now be able to review all of your selections to make sure they are correct. Once you've done this, scroll to the bottom of the page. Here you will see information about some key housing dates as well as information about what happens if you cancel your assignment. Be sure to read this section carefully. Once you've done this, select Yes and then Submit. You will receive confirmation that your application has been submitted. You'll also receive an email detailing your housing choices. After you've submitted your application, you can still make changes up until the draw deadline. Simply select Edit and then the application you wish to change. And that concludes our tour of the draw application. Be sure to visit our website for other videos like this and lots of other housing and draw related information. If you have a question, we want to hear from you. Send us a help ticket, give us a call, or stop by our office. On behalf of everyone in R&DE, best of luck in this year's draw.